Hello student, in this video I'm going to explain you the definition of derivatives of a function. Now what is derivative? Derivative of a function since you are familiar with this one since class 11, so I hope it will be clear to you. Now derivative of a function gives us the concept of the rate of change of the dependent variable with respect to the independent variable. Now, derivative of function gives the concept of the rate of change of the dependent variable with respect to the independent variable. So, if I take y is equal to f(x), then this x here, this one x here is called the independent variable. And y is called as the dependent variable. So now if there is a change in x here, then y also will change. So this one, does not depend on anything. That's why it is called independent variable. But why you see that it is a function of x, so it will depend on the value of x. So that's in this case we call it as the dependent variable. So now suppose that means if there is a change in x, then in that case there will always be a change in y. So suppose x changes to x plus h. So suppose this is the original value and then this x changes to x plus h, and then y plus k, because if there is a change in x, so there will be a change in y. So let this one and y plus k be the corresponding change in y. That means when it is x, it will be y, but when x changes to x plus h, then y become y plus k. Note that in some textbook, in place of this one h, they denote it by, note that in some textbook, h, they denote h by delta x and k by delta y. So don't get confused with this one. If it is delta x, means the same thing with that h, only just a notation only, where delta x represents a small increment in x and delta y means a small increment in y. That means a small change in y. So now here, if y plus k become the corresponding change in y when x changes to x plus h, means that f of x plus means that y plus k will be equal to f of x plus h. So now here we have this one. What is the increment in x? Because the original one is x and now it has changed to x plus h. So therefore the increment or change in the variable x is equal to h, because it changes from x plus h to from x to x plus h. So this one minus x will give you h. And what is the increment in the variable y, that is the dependent variable? It will be from y plus k to y. So it will be y plus k minus y. And what is y plus k? It is f of x plus h minus f of x. So now what is the ratio now? Therefore the ratio here is called increment in y divided by the increment in x will become what? What is the increment in y? The increment in y is this one. It is f of x plus h minus f of x divided by, what is the increment in x? The variable x, it is h. So we have it, which is, or which represent the rate of change of y with respect to x. Now, if I take the limit of this one, therefore limit h tends to 0, that means if the increment or the change in x is very small or approaches 0, f of x plus h minus f of x divided by h, this one will give us the instantaneous rate of change in y with respect to x, the independent variable. Now, if limit h tends to 0, f of x plus h minus f of x by h exists. That means if the limit of this function fx plus h minus fx by h exists finitely, then it gives us the derivative of the function fx, and it is denoted by f prime of x or dy dx, and this, which means that f prime x is equal to limit h tends to 0 f of x plus h minus f of x by h, or it may be denoted by dy dx is equal to this one. Now in case you note down this thing, if limit h tends to 0 plus f of x plus h minus f of x by h exists, I'll explain to you this one, then it is the right hand derivative of fx. That means if x is along h is along the real number line, so this is 0, h is this one, h tends to 0. H tends to 0 plus means that h approaches 0 from the right side. It comes closer and closer to 0. That means h is on the right side of 0. So it tends towards 0 from the right side. Then in that case, if the limit of that function exists, then it will be called as the right hand derivative, because in some cases, some problem you may find that when the h tends to 0 minus, that means when h approaches 0 from the left side, then in that case the limit will not exist. But when you take h approaches 0 from the right side, then in that case the limit may exist. So for that case we call it the limit of this one, h tends to 0 plus fx plus h minus f of x by h, as the right hand derivative of fx. And if limit h tends to 0 minus f of x plus h minus f of x by h, this one exists, then it is called as the left hand derivative. So in this case, if the limit of this function fx plus h minus f of x by h exists, as h tends to 0, minus means that h approaches 0 from the left side of 0, then in this case it will be called as the left hand derivative. Now the derivative of fx, say at a point x is equal to a, is given by the formula f prime of a at a particular point. This is general, x can be any value, but at a particular point it will be given by limit. This formula will be the same, but you have to replace x by x by a. It will be f of a plus h minus f of a divided by h. So let me solve one problem by using this definition, so that you'll be clear with this one. Example: derivative of y is equal to x to the power n. You can find the derivative of y is equal to x to the power n. Here f of x is equal to x to the power n. Okay, because we know that y is a function of x, so here you let y is equal to f of x. But what is f of x here? It is x to the power n. So fx is equal to x to the power n. Now what is dy dx, or the same thing, only f prime of x. By definition, it is limit h tends to 0, f of x plus h minus f of x by h. And this is called to what? I have fx is equal to x to the power n. So which means that if you take f of x plus h, it means that you replace, change this x. I change this x from x to x plus h. So there will be a change of x here also from x to x plus h to the power n, x plus h to the power n. So it will become limit h tends to 0. It will be x plus h to the power n minus, what is f of x? It is x to the power n by h. Now you expand this one, x plus h to the power n, by binomial theorem. It will be limit h tend to 0. So x to the power n plus nc1 h x to the power n minus 1 plus nc2 h square x to the power n minus 2 plus data, plus the last term will be h to the power n, then minus this one, x to the power n. Whole thing divided by h. Now this term and this will be cancelled. X to the power n and minus x to the power n will be cancelled. This is called to limit h tends to 0. Now see, from the second term onwards, you will see that h is a common factor. So take out h into, now nc1 x to the power n minus 1 plus the next term will be nc2 h square here, but I have taken one h, so it will be just h x power n minus 2 plus dash dash, and the last term here is h to the power n. Since one h has been taken out, so it will be equal to h to the power n minus 1 divided by h. Now h and h can be cancelled. It is limit h tends to 0, nc1 x to the power n minus 1 plus nc2 h x to the power n minus 2 plus dash plus h power n minus 1. Now what we notice is that the denominator now becomes 1 which is a constant which does not depend on h anymore. So you can substitute the limit of this one. But what we have is that from the second term onwards, all the terms are multiple of h. So if you replace h by 0, then from the second term onwards, it will become 0 or vanish. Therefore, this will become limit. This will become nc1 x to the power n minus 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus dash plus 0, because all are now multiple of h only. But now what is nc1? By the combination formula, so you get it as n factorial by 1 factorial into n minus 1 factorial x to the power n minus 1. This is n factorial. 1 factorial will be 1, n minus 1 factorial will remain as it is, then x power n minus 1. But what is n factorial? N factorial, it is the product of first and natural numbers 1 into 2 into 3 into dash dash into n. But before n, it is n minus 1. It will be 1 into 2 into dash dash into n minus 1 into n. Now if you take this one, the product of 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1, then you'll get it as what? Keep this n outside. So it will be n into 1 into 2 into 3. Okay, let me keep it there. N minus 1 into n, x to the power n minus 1 divided by n minus 1 factorial. Now combine this one, 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1 will be the same thing as n minus 1 factorial, then n into x power n minus 1 by n minus 1 factorial. This and this can be cancelled. So it gives you n into x to the power n minus 1, which is the derivative of x to the power n. And this method of finding the derivatives of function by using the definition is also known as the method of first principle. So in most of the time, they used to ask to find the derivative of a function for 4 marks. That is by using the definition or using the method of first principle, means the same thing only. That means you have to apply this formula only. dy dx is equal to limit h tend to 0 fx plus h minus fx by h in order to find out the derivative of a given function. Hope it is clear now how to find the derivative of a given function by using the definition or the method of first principle.